The eyes of a child. Those powerfully poetic words evoke different emotions in different people, with the general idea being that here's this wonderful new life looking up at you, and you looking down at it as nothing short of a miracle, especially if that little bundle is part of you, part of your DNA, your genetic composition, and entirely unexpected. My daughter had a baby 11 years ago. Not the baby, as in one that was expected, but a baby, and one that wasn't. My daughter had an undetected pregnancy and didn't know she was pregnant until she gave birth. I was naturally skeptical at first, but looking into it later, come to realize that it's not as rare as you might think, with something like 1 in 2,500 women experiencing it. And without going too deep into the medical weeds on this, there are a myriad of reasons for that. A woman may be having irregular periods and think nothing of missing a few, or having a frame that allows the fetus to shift around and not be easily detected. None of those reasons are important. That the child is here, safe and loved, that's what is. My daughter didn't know, and I believe her. Michael was born on January 28th, 2015, amid those weekend blizzards we were having that year. My daughter called up the morning after. She'd gone to the hospital with her boyfriend because she was experiencing excruciating pain and having bleeding issues. And they went to the hospital thinking it could be anything other than what it turned out to be. My daughter called that morning and through tears told me the details of this unbelievable story. And at that moment, my life was completely flipped upside down. I was going from father to grandfather in the shedding of a tear. How could this be? How could this happen? What does it mean? How will she cope? How will she care for it? I don't recall even asking the gender of the child, or if it had a name, or if it was healthy. My mind was just this discordant jumble of emotional reactions. And to be honest, my gut reaction, my first reaction, was purely selfish. You have to give the baby up, I said. They're in no position to raise a baby. They're living check to check. And I'm in no position to help raise a baby, not financially, logistically, emotionally. You have to give the baby up, I reasoned. You have to give it to parents who have a chance to give this life a chance to thrive. And through her tears on the phone, my daughter said that giving up the baby was an option. Hospital officials had talked to her about it, and it was an option in a situation that seemingly had none. So gathering my thoughts and my courage, I raced up to see her. Hospital officials there met me and told me the details of this unbelievable story, but it's all a blur. Then they escort me to my daughter's room, my grandchild's room. And the second I walk into that room, the second I see that swaddled baby on her lap, the second I lock eyes with my daughter, I know she's never going to give him up. I'm consumed by fear and uncertainty, as is she. But looking into Michael's eyes, I was consumed by far more love, pure, unexpected, surprising, unconditional love than I could have ever imagined. And then I held him, soft and warm and cooing in my arms and smelling that amazing new baby smell. And looking into his eyes, I knew at that precise moment that my life was forever changed for the absolute best. It has not been without challenge. My daughter is a single mom. The boyfriend is practically non-existent, and I feel bad for him because he's missing the evolution of one fantastic kid. And bear with me, I'm going to go full proud grandpa on this, but Mikey is the best, smartest, most bright, loving, kind, wonderful, funny, sassy little guy I've ever met. And he and his mom live with my ex, whom my daughter also cares for, in addition to holding down a full-time job. And my daughter is a fantastic mom, frugal and disciplined, molding Mikey into this wonderfully responsible little human being, just as too many other single mothers do, with little or no help. And Mikey and I have grown a lot together in the last 11 years, me emotionally, more or less, he physically and emotionally. And he's growing so damn fast. He's shooting up like a weed as much as I wish I could drag my feet and slow those circles down. But with that growth comes a snarky little tween with a sassy attitude that I really love. A few years ago, when he was like 8 or 9, I took him to the Museum of Science in Boston. And there was a stump of an ancient tree that dated back to the time of Christ. Mikey looks at it and said, "Hey, Grandpa, there's something here even older than you." What's not to love? You know what? As a lifetime wise, ask myself, it gives me hope that it's going to live on in my grandson. Ever since that day 11 years ago, that cold January day, I have cherished every second I get to spend with Mikey. You usually spend every Sunday together, each one the best day of my life. And every time when I pick him up, it's with no direction known. He just gets in the car and we go wherever he wants to go, or whichever way the wind blows. We've hopped on the train to go to the Children's Museum in Boston. We've wandered the streets of Providence, Rhode Island, just because we love Providence, Rhode Island. We've moseyed out to Windsor Locks, Connecticut to see the Airplane Museum because he loves aviation. He wants to be a pilot. We've gone all the way down to Charlestown, Rhode Island to walk the whimsical bamboo forest and feed the chickens at the fantastic umbrella factory. Too far does not exist in our Sunday world. And I like to think I've taught him to embrace the joy of spontaneity, the love of the uncertainty of certainty. And I'm pretty sure he has. One day last year when I picked him up, he got in the car. He was giddy with excitement. He told me to open the lunchbox his mom had packed for him. And I opened it, and there was a napkin on which he had carefully printed the words I always say whenever we take off on one of our adventures: "No plan is the best plan." And he signed it, Grandpa, with a little smiley face at the bottom. I framed that the second I got home. I never thought I would love as pure or as deeply as I did when my two kids were born, but I love now in so many ways, harder and more deeply with Mikey. And I'm pretty sure he feels the same way about his grandpa. I can see it in his eyes. Thank you.